Hi, I want to give you a quick tutorial on how to start using the environment variable in Node.js. We're actually going to be using the .env npm package. So right here on my screen, I have my simple Node Express application server that is currently running here. So what what I'll do first is to let me open a new terminal. I'll just open a new terminal here. So let me show you the package we're going to be using. It's called the .env npm package. So I'll just search for it. So I'll just search for it. This is the .env package here. So what I'm going to do next is to copy the command here, npm npm install .env, and I will come back here. What I'm going to do is to just paste what I've copied from there and install the package. So after installing the package, the next thing is to create the .env file. Make sure the .env file is in your root directory of your application. So I'll come here, I'll create a new file called the .env. Okay, so this is the .env file I've just created. So I'm going to write some stuff inside this. I'll just write port. I'll just say port equals to, let me call it 5000, or let's call it 51. Then I'm just gonna say like let's say secret key. Let me just call this stuff. Let's call it secret key. Okay, I'll just call it, let me call it temtech key. All right, so I've just done this stuff here, and I've just created the file. This is the file, and I've included some stuff inside the file here. So what I'm going to do is to load this environment variable in our root server, files, which is our index.js. So I'll come here. You can see I'm using the import statement instead of the require. The normal way we do it in Node.js, because I made my server application to use the type module, that is the ES6. This is what I mean here. I'm using the type module that it allows me to use the ES syntax, that is the import statement in my Node application. So here what I'm going to do next is to import that package that I've just installed now, which is called the .env. I'll just call it .env here. Okay, from .env. Right, so the next thing is to we have to call this .env. How do you do it? You do .env.config, then you call it. Okay, you have to call it to make it to start working. And now the next step is we have just done setting up the .env. What I'm going to do next is to access it. How do we access these variables, these stuff that are inside the in file? How do you access it? So when you come here, when you come back to this place, you're going to use the process.env. This process.env actually returns an object. Let me console log you so you see. I want you to understand the basics before you start making use of it. So this stuff here you are seeing, this process.env returns an object. So now let me just, I want to console log, so let me call it objects. Okay, so I want to show you that it returns an object before you start selecting what you have. It will return some object, and this, all these stuffs also included. Okay, so you just have to choose what you want to work with. All right, so if I come here now, I will just first of all, let me show you that our server is currently, let me be sure that our server is running. I'll just come back here. I think it's already, let me be sure that our server is running. I think our server is not running. Let me start this server. npm starts. I'm using doutmon. I'm using nodemon. Sorry, I'm using nodemon. So if I make any change, it's gonna start automatically. Thank God, something is wrong. Let's be sure what's happening. Let me comment this out so I'm sure what's going on. It's very okay to always be sure that your server is running. What's happening? Let me check. What's happening? What's happening? Oh, I think let me be sure. This is okay. I come to my stuff here again. Call this. What's the challenge? Imported this stuff. I imported this from .1. Then initialize it here. So what is that? So let me remove all this and start a new terminal. It's I just want to show the error, how you can handle the error. I'm not trying to make everything to look very smooth. So in case you're working and you encounter any error, npm run start, you'll be sure how to handle it. Okay, that is a very good way to learn all this. So it's not always okay to just make everything to look smooth and fine. No. Okay, yeah, our server is okay. It's running fine now. So server is running. So if you come here, let me open a new terminal to show you that our server is running. So I have this, look at, it's returning that simple node express application. This was what I'm, see if you come here now, you see that on this, when you call this endpoint, this server here, at the root directory, it returns this simple message. Okay, so you can see how we tackle that error. Is another good way to learn coding very well. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do now, I'll just uncomment this stuff and be sure what's happening. I think it was because of that stuff we, so you can see here now that we have this look at it, we have this object, this that stuff return, that's a process.env returned an object. Look at what's going on here. So look at here, this is where I'm console logging. It's returning this object. This object has its local paths, Android name, app data, a lot of stuffs in it, color stuff, oh, a lot of shit, a lot of stuff. So if you come here now, okay, if you come to, if you come to, if you look very well, you see that port. Look at it. Look at that port here. We have that port here. Okay. So you will just remember that this stuff here, this process.env is actually an object. So what I'm going to do next is let me call dot, let me say dot port. Let me open that stuff again. You see, it's giving us that um 5. Look at it. So let me just put it to 5,000 and remove this one. Let me bring this down. Let me go back again, make it 5,000. Okay, then come back again. I will just say something like I want to remove this stuff. I want to, okay, let me initialize it to a new, let me initialize it to a new variable. Call it port equals to process dot env dot port. All right. So I'm just gonna console log this port here. Let me take this off. We don't need this anymore. Oops. So if I come here now, I'm gonna say let's. So now our app is listening to this port, and I can also say something like a. So let me just take this off as well. This console, let me just take it and use a template that I will say server running at port. What this port is coming from the environment variable. So if I look at it now, server running at port 5,000. So that 5,000 is actually coming from our environment variable. So what I'm gonna do is, in case this does not load, I can just say or 5,000. So I'll make sure nothing breaks. Okay. So in case if you want to make use of, there are different use cases of environment variable. You want to store your configuration credentials, your security stuff, your let's say your APIs. Like if you're using third-party APIs, in some cases GitHub, if you want to push your code to GitHub will not allow you to push in some, if GitHub dictates some kind of APIs, third-party APIs, it's gonna send you a warning message. So, and as well, if you want to also push this code to GitHub, what you have to do is to also create a gitignore file. And when you create a gitignore file, gitignore. So when you create a gitignore file, you're going to add this environment. Just add this stuff here inside your gitignore file so that when you push this code to GitHub, it's not going to take every stuff you have inside here. It's not going to take all this stuff you have in your environment variable. Okay, so this is why it's very important when you want to push your code to GitHub or Gitbucket or anywhere. Just make sure you include it in your gitignore. All right, so that it will not take it to the repository. So now I think let me go back again. Do you have any other stuff to talk about? So if you have any question or whatever you do not understand, just make sure you leave a comment below or reach out to me through my LinkedIn or Twitter. I'll be happy, very glad to help you. Okay. So now, if you have enjoyed this tutorial, if you have get anything from my tutorial, please make sure you subscribe. It's just a very simple way to encourage me. Okay. So now that you have enjoyed it and you have gotten to this extent, why not you just subscribe to my channel? Okay. See you next. Bye.